Welcome to Metal Planet, a great place to stay up to date on the new heavy metal and hard rock releases that come out each week. If you wanted to hear about the new albums that will be released on October 17th, you came to the right place, so buckle up, I got you. Sabaton will soon unleash its 11th studio album Legends. It will be the band's first album for the label Better Noise Music. After the formation's successful run of releases for Nuclear Blast Records, Legends will continue the band's tradition of releasing music inspired by historical figures and events, as well as war and battles. Tracks from Legends will be about topics like the Knights Templar, the invasions of the Mongol ruler Genghis Khan, the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, and the rise of the Swedish Empire in the 17th century. In the band's 11th album, you will find the deep vocals, the bombastic quality, and the flamboyant style Sabaton is known for, and more. This week we are going to get a new album by Sintage, a relatively new band from Germany that was founded in 2019. This formation features a lively vocal style, and it has an energetic old-school heavy metal sound that can be for fans of classic bands like Accept, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, but also for people who like younger bands from the new wave of traditional heavy metal scene like Ambush. Unbound, the Triumph won't have the heavily compressed synthetic production that many metal albums have these days, also known as the indie snip sound, but it will rather have a more vintage aesthetic that evokes the way many metal albums sounded like in the 80s. The black metal bands Carach, Angren and Tombs will drop new titles this week. Carach and Angren will release the 5-track EP The Cult of Kariba, influenced by gothic horror and occult lore. The narrative in the extended play will talk about a witch named Kariba and a man she poisoned that seeks revenge after being resurrected by a cult. To me, the standout element in Carach and Angren's music are the elaborate orchestral arrangements by the keyboardist Clemens Vyers. They give the material a cool cinematic edge. Tombs will release Feral Darkness, a studio album with a gritty sound, both dense and minimalist at the same time. This album will feature a sludgy guitar tone and many vocal styles like harsh vocals, clean vocals, and sometimes almost narration-style vocals. This next round is going to be pretty varied, with records with really different sounds. The new Battle Beast opus Stillbound will have a light metal sound with lavish pop vocals and an upbeat vibe. The album's release date will coincide with the beginning of the band's upcoming tour of Europe, with Dominum and Majestica, two other bands from the European power metal scene. The second album, Mendacium by Evoken, will be in the funeral doom genre, a subgenre of death doom influenced by funeral dirge music. It puts an emphasis on establishing a dark atmosphere with really slow riffs, death growls, and keyboard sounds that emulate the sound of a pipe organ. The third record, Keys to the City by Silly Goose, will be a blue grape music title. It will give you Limp Bizkit vibes with its rapping vocals, bouncy riffs, prominent bass lines, and brash attitude. 84 Tigers is a three-piece band from Michigan that consists of the brothers Mike and Ben Reed, as well as Jono Diner. Their upcoming record, Nothing Ends, was created in the wake of the passing of the musician Travis Dupp, who was a longtime friend of the formation and a fellow band member of Mike and Ben in another group named Small Brown Bike. The 84 Tigers members were inspired by his passing to create their new songs. As a result, the material contains emotionally resonant singing and lyrics about loss, grief, the human fragility, and the will to keep going through adversity. The 84 Tigers' vocal style reminds me of the singer John Dyer Beasley of Baroness. The 9th album into this list is Mana by the German band Erdling. The songs of this band are sung in German, and the formation is part of the Neue Deutsche Harte music scene from Germany. As a result, the music of Erdling will give you some Rammstein vibes to a certain extent, but I would say that the band is not a Rammstein carbon copy. Many Erdling tracks have riffs that are almost closer to alternative metal and sometimes even metalcore than industrial metal. Also, there are guitar solos in the Erdling songs, which is really unusual in the industrial metal genre. But like the music of Rammstein, Mana will feature a bombastic production and vibrant electronic sounds. If you're into death metal, I've got 3 titles for you this week, 3 records from different corners of the death metal spectrum. The Sleeping City by An Abstract Illusion is going to be an album in the progressive death metal subgenre. It will be atmospheric, and it will contain retro synth sounds that evoke the soundtracks of science fiction movies from the 80s. This one can be for fans of bands like Blood Incantation and Opeth. Inveighing Brilliance by Tribal Gaze will be closer to the old school death metal vein. This album is going to have slow and mid-tempo riffs with monstrous death growls. The third record, Settle All Scores by Internal Bleeding, will feature a brutal sound and be a display of riffs called the slams, which are perfect for moshing in concerts. This week I'm going to have 3 recommendations, the 3 albums that I recommend the most for this week. The third record I recommend the most is by Azell, a music project I wasn't familiar with until recently, but when I listened to the band's new song From the Womb of Oblivion, I was really impressed and I said to myself, oh shit, I need to talk about this band in my upcoming video. This track and others from Astralis contain doom metal riffs played with ultra-low guitar tunings that are crushing. The vocals are pretty intense and abrasive, and overall the heaviness of the songs compel you to do a stank face and move your head up and down to the beat. As a cherry on top, the album has a crazy concept involving science fiction, space travel, and a Lovecraftian creature. Physical copies of the album include an accompanying novel expanding the lore of the story, making Astralis a dope multi-format experience. This release is definitely an interesting one. The second record I recommend the most this week is a comeback album. Dissonance Theory will be the first studio album in more than 3 decades for the influential Swiss thrash metal band Coroner. The band members have discussed the possibility of a new album for more than 10 years, so expectations for this one have been high. In contrary to the recent Dark Angel album, which many thrash metal fans have found disappointing, it appears that Dissonance Theory will be quite the opposite. The tracks Renewal and Symmetry that have been released before the album's official release date show a band at the top of its game. The technical playing of the musicians is on point, the material is strong, and the compositions are well executed. It seems that taking the time to create this album is a move that will pay off for the band. This record is another definite recommend, especially for thrash metal fans. The release I recommend the most this week is another comeback record. Divided We Fall will be the first album by Biohazard in 13 years, and the first record the band worked on since the return of the bassist Evan Seinfeld in the lineup in 2022. Biohazard is a revered hardcore band that released classic albums in the 90s like Urban Discipline and State of the World Address. Although Biohazard members like Seinfeld and Billy Graziadei are almost in their 60s now, the new material don't show their age at all and could have been released by a much younger band. The songs have a vitality that shows that the band has no intention of slowing down and that the musicians are still firing on all cylinders. Eyes on Six is one of the best hardcore songs I have listened to this year. One of my favorite moments in the track is when Seinfeld leaves his bass behind and delivers his lines towards the end of the song with the heavy riff playing in the background. It's badass. That track is a banger. If you plan to listen to an album that was presented today, gently tap that like button and subscribe to the channel for more heavy music related content. There is a video like this one every 7 days on this channel, so it might interest you. Let me know in the comments which album or albums you plan to listen to this week. I always like to read your comments. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Max Gray out. Cheers!